All right, so we are live. This is the third year we're doing this, right, guys? I think. So welcome everybody to the U.S. Masters. This is the live cast where we broadcast the first round matchups between opponents from the 8 regions across the United States. I think what we'll do first is we'll kick off with introductions, and then we'll do a rebound into what we're going to do, and then we'll just go into the tables after that. So I'll just call people off at random. Introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what affiliation you have, anything else you want to tell us, what your blood sugar count is. I don't care. Anything like that. So let's start off with Mr. Adam Ballard.
Hi guys, Adam Ballard. For those of you that don't know, part of the mountain region. I'm the chair for the mountain region. Live out of Omaha, Nebraska. We host the Bug Eater GT. If you haven't heard of it, look us up. It's a great time. Mr. Cox himself is going to make an appearance this next year, so it'll be fun. Yeah, other than that, I'm just happy to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Jeremy, let's jump over to you.
My name is Jeremy Duvall. I am the West Coast region chair, and you might have heard me on Countercharge sometimes.
All the time.
Yeah, I'm excited. Some really interesting lists, some interesting matchups. So I'm ready to get this going. Let's do it live.
We are doing it live. Great. Let's jump over to Ryan.
Hey guys, I'm Ryan. I am the chair of the Pacific Northwest, and yeah, looking forward to seeing everybody at Masters.
Ryan's a little busy gluing his army together still.
Yeah. Sorry.
Rashad is on mute and stuck in traffic, so we'll get to him when he gets home. Unless
I can do Rashad.
You want to do Rashad? Go for it.
I'm Rashad. I am master of the cheese. I paint pretty pictures, and yeah, Rashad's the man. He's cool. He'll be here. He's stuck in traffic because he lives in LA, so he will be on shortly. He is my consigliere numero uno for the West Coast region. You probably know him for he has a beautiful undead army, and he's one of the stalwart members of After Dark. He's always on painting. Yeah, so he should be on shortly.
All righty, let's jump over to Mike.
Hey, I'm Mike Pearcy. I play down in the South region. I'll be one of the commentators for the Masters live stream. So yeah, that's pretty much me.
Awesome, man. And let's do Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt Carmack, and I will be the other commentator for the Master stream when we get that started in late February. I am super excited about that.
And last but not least, our previous master, Mr. Patrick Zoro Allen.
Well, 2 Masters ago, Alex Chavez is the current master.
Yeah, that's why you're the previous.
Patrick Allen, I will say I did find out today that I still have the most total points scored in Masters. I beat Chavez by 10 points. So that was a nice surprise. Not going to hold on to that title very much longer. But I will be producing this stream. And what you'll see on the screen today is a little bit of a preview of some of the graphics that we have coming up on the stream.
So Pat's going to do all the heavy lifting. I'm going to keep all these jokers on time, hopefully, and we'll get into it. So I will explain kind of what we're going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through 11 tables tonight. It should take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. If we get really talky, it might take an hour and 55 minutes. But it should be relatively quick. What we're going to do is we're going to break down the 2 players, what armies they're bringing, and then how we think those match up in just a theoretical scenario. This is not official. This doesn't matter. It's not going to affect your score. It's not going to affect the outcome of the game whatsoever. It's just a fun way to, get everybody together and kind of talk through some of the games and some of the exciting matchups that we see and, some of the potential that can happen. If you have thin skin, you might get upset by some of the stuff you're going to hear. You may think that we're wrong, and that's totally fine. We're wrong more than we're right most of the time. But that doesn't matter. This is all for fun. It's all goofs and games. Don't take this seriously. If you do, sorry, but you're probably going to be offended by at least one of the 8 opinions that are going to fly out from here. We all think differently. We all have different ideas on meta, and that's just kind of how it's going to ship out. So, you know what? Let's do this real quick. Anybody drinking?
Yes.
What are you drinking?
Crown Royal XO.
Nice.
I got some mezcal because I ran out of whiskey.
Dry County?
I ran out of that, so now I got
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
We're bringing some more. Jeremy, come on, man. Jeremy's got a coffee mug.
Yes. Now, I have in my Les Miserables, because I'm also cultured, I have some Black Eye vodka that I got brought home with me from Living Legends.
Well, what a fucking coincidence.
Oh, yeah. That stuff is amazeballs.
I was going to save this for later, but let's fucking do one now, man. All right. I'll take one with you. I'll do a short one because I'm not going to try and get too trash on this. Anybody else is drinking to y'all?
Salute.
All right.
I've got a Noisy Cricket IPA from Friends and Allies Brewing here in Austin. Drinking it out of my Value Battles pint glass that I finally got this past year.
Won the whole thing, and all they gave you was a pint glass. All righty, gents. If nobody else is drinking, let's kick it off. We've got table 1, and on table 1, who do we have?
Stephen Derose from the Mountain Region.
All right. Let me click over to Pat. There we go. What a handsome son of a bitch.
It was much better than the serial killer sketch artist he sent me earlier. It's like, I don't really have a photo. He sends me this sketch.
I was really
I have this.
Have that on stream.
So, Adam, I think you picked up Steven as a merc. What was the thought process there? Why'd you pick Steven?
Yeah, so Mountain Region had a few mishaps again this year. Luckily, it wasn't the week before Masters, so we had to scramble and find some people. Steven's our neighbor, closest guy to us here, and about 2.5 hours away in Des Moines, Iowa. He's a common attender to all of our tournaments, even though he's technically in the Midwest and we're in the Mountain Region. They're the closest gaming community we have here in Omaha. So he comes to our one-day events. We go to his. He comes to Bug Eater. So he's a common face that I've seen for the past several years. So he was one of my first guys that I dug into in the pocket of mercs.
Nice. All right. Matt, you want to jump into the list?
Yeah, here. I've got Steven's list. He is running Brotherhood. Everyone should also be reminded this is going to be the last Clash 18 list, so these formations are going to be different. But he's got 2 regiments of Order of the Brotherhood on foot. He's got a horde of villain martyrs. I can't imagine why. He's got 2 Order of the Brotherhood regiments of knights. One has the Blade of Slashing. One has the Mace of Crushing. He's got a horde of villain initiates with the Potion of the Caterpillar, and a horde of Order of the Forsaken with the Brew of Strength. He's got an Exemplar mounted on a warhorse with the Inspiring Talisman. He's got a Devoted upgraded to heal 4 with Shroud of the Saints. That's going to be heal 7.
Nice.
And on a horse. He's got a Forsaker with the Staying Stone. Interesting. And then a Hunter with Wings of Honey Maze. An Exemplar Adjutant on a horse. Geez, a lot of characters. Banner of the Griffin. And then he has the Undaunted Crusaders formation and the Last Stand formation.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And on the other side of the table from him, we've got Mr. Josh Rosado, who's bringing Ratkin.
All right, who's got Josh's list?
I got Josh's list here. So the Ratkin, I personally don't know Josh. I don't think we've played before, but he's starting off with some tunnel slaves. He's got 3 regiments of tunnel slaves, 2 2 hordes of shock troops, one with the caterpillar, the other with the fog. 2 hordes of blight, one with brewer's strength, the other with the flying hammer. 1, 2, 3 troops of claw shots, one with the piercing arrow. A regiment of vermintide, 3 weapons teams with storm of lead, as you do. Death engine with vile sorcery. Blight lord with bane chant 3. A warlock with bane chant 3 and the inspiring talisman, and a swarm crier with diadem of dragonkind.
Nice. So, thoughts on how these two match up against each other?
I think Ratkin is the thing that the Brotherhood definitely do not want to see. I mean, they just have a lot of nerve and hordes to be able to absorb those charges.
Especially this Ratkin. Like it's 2 hordes of blight and 2 hordes of shock troops. Oof.
And he's got the 3 tunnel slave regiments to be able to break up charges. The Brotherhood list does have some attrition in the last stand formation.
It's got a lot of well, I mean, it goes without saying that it's got a lot of speed, but it does have 3 different flying units, and I think that that hunter is interesting. The flying hunter. I think that guy can actually probably do a lot of work against this rat list.
Yeah, I agree. I think that hunter's gonna have some fun trying to chase down some individuals. So.
I think with a list like this, I mean, he's got the Brotherhood, he's got all the formations, which are good. But usually when you're playing a faster, more alpha strikey sort of list, you don't want to see multiple things that you're going to bounce off of. And when you're looking at like double blight horde, big infantry hordes, regiments to sort of deny double or triple charges, which is really the only way you can pop those blight hordes, is you got to get into it with multiple things. And then enough shooting to sort of mop up things that, if he does get into a grind, those knights are not going to have much health left after if they do pick off those hordes. And then they're just going to take a lot of fire. So I think it's definitely going to be a tough matchup for the Brotherhood, I think.
I mean, we're talking about grinding, though. That villain initiates horde does grind decently well. I mean, it's a cav horde.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is good. I'm just thinking, like, that's 1 unit versus 4 Ratkin hordes. I mean, he can grind with that 1 unit pretty well, but I just don't think the knight regiments are going to get much traction anywhere.
Well, even the martyrs, Valiant Martyrs and the Valiant Initiates, they both can grind, because the martyrs with the regen 6, it doesn't look like much, but you get a couple wounds back. He has a heal 7 backing him up. I mean, he can really, the defense 5 pretty much across the board is going to be tough for the Ratkin to focus down and pop a unit in 1 turn just on a 1-1 matchup. So the Ratkin player needs the combo charge if he wants to break anything as well.
Yeah, kind of what I see is the brother doesn't have an answer to get rid of the slaves besides combat. So he can't shoot them. So to me, the Ratkin player is going to determine where the battles are fought because he has more things, and he has those slaves are great chef, and he has more shooting. So yeah, I don't think it's a great matchup. I like the Brotherhood list. I just don't think this is what it wants to see.
Ratkins have 6 more drops and a lot more unit strength. The Brotherhood list is just Matt said it earlier, is very character heavy.
But again, some careful positioning with a lot of those characters can kind of even that who picks the battles in the middle of the board. Mounted characters can cause a lot of trouble for foot hordes trying to get around.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're gonna have to deal with the weapon teams. I think that's the big thing. That's a lot of breath.
Yeah.
And it's piercing breath.
And even if, Steven wanted to, he could throw an individual into one of those regiments if they're in front of the hordes and just clog up the entire army for a turn or two as well.
All right. So let's start going through consensus. We'll just run down the list as I can see it. Just give me who you think is going to pull off a win. Again, we don't know what scenario is going to be played, so that could, obviously shift the way the game plays out. But we're just playing with a generic concept of army versus army in mind. Jeremy, what do you think?
I think I got to go Josh Rosado just for the matchup. And also Rob has a huge man crush on him. So if I don't pick him, Rob's going to be really mad because Josh may be mad at him. So I can't let that happen. So I'm going to go with Ratkin in this matchup.
Okay. Let's go with Ryan. What are you thinking?
I'm going with the Ratkin.
Okay. Rashad is still in traffic. Patrick, thoughts?
I feel like if both lists were played to their best, the Ratkin has the edge on the list.
Okay. Michael, what are you thinking?
I think just list on list, it's got to be the Ratkin, but the Brotherhood could take it with some careful play. But I think I'm gonna have to go with the Ratkin list.
Okay. Matt?
I mean, I hate to landslide this one way or the other, but yeah, I'm looking at the Ratkin list, and it's just a whole lot of shooting that I don't think the Brotherhood can tank out. So I'm going to swing with Josh as well.
All righty. Finally, Adam, what are you thinking?
Brotherhood all the way.
There you go. No landslide. All right. Let's jump over to table 2. On table 2, we have, golly, I have too many freaking things open. There we go. On table 2, we have Nathan Clevenger playing Dwarves versus Mark Bryson playing Herd. And since Rashad is stuck in traffic, I will read Nathan's list. Nathan hails from the Southeast region. He's a solid player. I've seen him at a couple of events, and we always have a good time together. Here's what he is rocking. He's got... Oh, wait, hold on. Do I need to lock that again? I do. Oh, wait, no, it was already locked. All right, cool. Sweet. Yay. All right. Nathan has a regiment of Ironclad. He has 2 regiments of Iron Guard. He has a horde of Earth Elementals with Blessing of the Gods. He has a horde of Earth Elementals with Healing Brew. He has a troop of Brock Riders. He has a regiment of Brock Riders with Brew of Strength. He has an Army Standard Bearer with a Ukulele of Insatiable Darkness. He has a Berserker Lord on Ram. Actually, sorry, Berserker Lord mounted on Brock. I'm guessing he's modeled it on a Ram. And he has given him Blade of the Beast Slayer. It is way too early to be doing that stuff. He has another Berserker Rider mounted on Rock. Good God, mounted on Brock with Blade of Slashing. He finally has a third Berserker Rider mounted on Brock with Mace of Crushing. He has a King with Wings of the Honey Maze. He has a Stone Priest with Bane Chant 2, Martyr's Prayer 7, Banner of the Griffin. That Stone Priest also has Surge 8, in case you didn't know Stone Priests. And he's got 2 regiments of the Mastiff Hunting Pack. Alliterations aside, it's a good list. Who's got Mark Bryson's list?
I got Mark's over here.
Okay.
All right, so we've got Mark coming out of the mountain region. This is his first Masters qualification. He's going to be playing the Herd. So we've got a horde of the Tribal Warriors, 2 regiments of Longhorns. One of those has the Brew of Haste. A horde of Lycans with the Staying Stone. 2 troops of Beast Pack. 2 regiments of the Giant Eagles. 2 Stampede Hordes. The Great Totem, so that'll be a Advanced Deploy Rally 2. Great Chieftain with the Wings of the Honey Maze. A Centaur Chief with the Boots of the 7 Leagues, giving him Vanguard. A Shaman with Drain Life and the Amulet of the Fireheart. He also has Bane Chant 3 as his other spell. And then the Cloven Stalkers formation. And that one's going to be the Warrior Horde, the Longhorn Regiments, and a Great Chieftain all have Vanguard.
It's a lot of moving up.
Yep.
So, what are y'all's thoughts?
I really like Marksless. It's definitely an alpha strike, but everything that's movement 6 or all the infantry, Vanguard's up. Everything that didn't Vanguard is either advanced deploy or fast enough to catch up with them. He's if he gets first turn with the extra movement on some of these things that Vanguard, he can easily charge turn 1.
I think Nathan's got his fingers crossed that they don't end up playing Invade.
I think it's interesting that he did Brew of Haste on the Longhorns Regiment. I normally see that on the Warriors Horde.
Yeah, thinking the same thing.
Same time, like as an alpha strike, but those dwarves, I mean, they want you to get close so that they can pound you again.
Yeah.
It's a lot of nerve.
It's also a lot of defense 6. It's 4 units with defense 6.
He has the perfect can openers. It's called a Stampede.
Yeah, Stampedes don't care about defense 6.
That's true.
My only worry with Stampedes is he has those 3 Berserker Lords,
Yeah.
and all he has to do is disorder the Stampede, and then it's only crushing 1.
Yep.
So that's going to be tough to stop because individual Cav heroes are real tough to pin down. And I feel like I'm assuming they're both good players. It doesn't seem like it'd be too tough to disorder at least one of those Stampedes, and one of them's not going to run through the army. I really like those 3 Berserker Lords. And the King. That's a pain to deal with.
The King actually is the one I think who needs to disorder the Stampedes because those Stampedes can pick up a Berserker Lord in one go if they get lucky.
They still do have the 1 crush, 30 attacks. They can just run over a Berserker Lord.
Yeah, but if he stacks the King in once and then the 3 Berserker Lords come in afterwards, that's still 24 attacks hitting on 3.
If all 3 Berserker Lords hit Stampede, they can just take it out.
That's what he's got to worry about if those 3 guys stack up, because they probably will if they stack up on anything.
But if they do stack up and they don't kill it,
oh yeah, well he can.
It's also
wipe some floor.
Wherever he places that Great Totem's also going to make it really interesting because he's got a surprisingly large amount of nerve at that point.
True, that does happen.
Get the Longhorns to 16-18 and a Warrior Horde to 22-24.
Yeah, exactly.
The most interesting nerve bump from that will be those Giant Eagles at 14-16. That's surprisingly a tough flying regiment.
But that Great Totem also has to worry about 3 Brock Lords because they're all going to get triple attacks against that thing.
I mean, then he loses 3 Brock Lords. Like that's easy bait.
You put the totem where you can charge whoever charges it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Or move through it with your Vanguard.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of ways he can work with the totem, so I actually really like that in this list.
Yep, me too.
Any other thoughts, or do y'all want to go to votes?
I think as heard, right, the one thing that you're worried about is being out playing a fast army, right? Because all your stuff has so much TC, you want to hit first. So as a herd player, if I'm told, oh, you're playing defense 6 dwarves, you're like, yes, because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get the charges I want. I have the can openers. But I mean, Nate has 5 units, speed 8, plus a 6th king with wings. It's a lot of separate units of high speed. And I played both these guys, and I know Brian is a newer player. I played him at Lone Wolf last year, which I think was the biggest event he had been to. And Nate plays with those Sons of Vulcan. That's a pretty good club. So I know, Nate's probably playing with a little bit harder regular play group. So I think it's like if he can manage, if he can get the hair out of his face and see what he's doing, then I think he's a very good player and he has enough speed elements to tie that stuff up. But with dwarves too, it always comes down to what's the scenario. Moving, what a lot of his speed comes from stuff that has no unit strength, right? From heroes. Yeah. So again, if you're not at the right spot by the end of the game, for depending on what scenario you're playing, it's always tough with dwarves.
That Berserker Brock troop, they're dash 16, so they're not easy to get through. I mean, a Stampede's going to go through them, but like anything else in the herd list is going to get stuck on him for at least a couple rounds.
More than likely.
Yeah.
Maybe not the lichen.
True, not the lichens. And you do have to go, what Jeremy said on experience, this is Brian's first Masters, and this is Nate's third.
Yeah. I don't know though. The speed that you mentioned on the dwarf side is matched and exceeded with the speedy engage that Mark has in 5 speed 10 Jeffy units. And I think experience can easily end up being countered by scenario in this type of matchup.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any really scenarios where, you know, Nathan comes out ahead just based on scenario, but there's plenty that Mark does.
It's true. And from what I heard from Jeremy, he's basically saying Mark doesn't have anybody to play with, so Brian Berdier is just crap apparently. So
You know, I just don't waste the mental energy thinking about Broder. So no, I'm kidding. No, Mark's. I got to hang out with him at Lone Wolf. Totally great guy. He's got a good mind for the game, but you really Masters is something we'll probably talk about here. It really is its own animal when it comes to the consistent level of player and the seasoning, and I think that really comes through in a lot of experience is a really important factor. So I think that the experience is definitely on Nate's side, whether or not the game will work out that way. Because I think Michael brings up a good point about scenarios with dwarves. Just when you have no unit strength that with speed besides his Brock units, you got to be really smart with how you play scenarios. You know, instead of thinking about where do you got to be turn 6 and turn 4 as dwarves, you need to think about where you want to be turn 6, like while you're deploying. So yeah, so it should be an interesting game.
All right, let's do votes. Jeremy, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to go with Nate.
Okay, Ryan.
I'm going with the herd.
Alrighty. Rashad is still in traffic. Or is Rashad joining?
I'm with you guys.
Okay. Oh, there is a beautiful echo. Let's mute that for a second. While he fixes that, Pat, what do you think?
I'm going to give it to the dwarves.
Okay. Michael?
I think the herd list. I'm gonna go with Mark.
Okay. Mike? Or sorry, not Mike. Matt.
I'm gonna give it to the dwarves on list, but it's gonna come down to scenario.
Okay. And Adam.
we'll make it an even split. It's going to be the herd.
Nice.
Right. Since it's even, Mark, you got to cast a tiebreaker.
There we go.
Make me all right. Fine. I will cast a tiebreaker. I think Nathan is going to win it. I love Mark, and Mark's lost a lot of weight this year because he's been working out like a motherfucker.
Yeah, way to go, buddy.
I know, isn't that awesome?
Congrats.
That's awesome, man. Way to go.
But
Apparently over 110 pounds.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
That's a huge feat.
Just a note also, apparently Mark is the nicest person you ever meet, and that's why he loses so much, according to his club mates.
maybe.
We wanted some sports scores on the Mountain Region team.
Oh no, he is a great game.
He is a fantastic game.
Yeah, very fun, great. I play him anytime.
All right, let's hop into table 3. Table 3, we've got Grant Mercier from the Pacific Northwest playing Varangur against Derrick Byrd playing Dwarves from the Midwest. And Jeremy, I think you've got the first list.
Yeah, so I have Garrett's list. A very interesting cat. A very laid back guy, Pacific Northwest. He took the long drive to come down to Bay of Kings this year, so shout out to him. He has a very interesting take on Varangur. So he has a horde of Bloodsworn with the Fury Gift and Brew of Sharpness. He's got a horde of the Fallen with Brew of Strength. He has 3 regiments of Horse Raiders, and he's swapped throwing weapons on all these guys for bows. 2 Cavern Dwellers. He's got a Chieftain on a Dire Fang with the Fury Gift plus Brew of Courage. King on Chimera with the Fury Gift and a Mesa Crushing. And then Magnilde of the Fallen rounds out his list.
All right, and I've got Derrick Byrd. He's bringing dwarves. He has a horde of Ironclad with Brew of Courage. He has 2 regiments of Iron Guard with nothing on them, 3 troops of sharpshooters, 3 regiments of Berserker Brock Riders, 1 with Caterpillar, 1 with Hammer of Measured Force, and 1 with Brew of Strength. He has 3 Iron Belcher organ guns, 2 Army Standard Bearers, 1 with Loot of Insatiable Darkness, and 1 with Banner of the Griffin. He has a Berserker Brock Lord with the Beast Slayer, as you do, and he has a King with Wings. That's it.
Alrighty, let's go. First impressions.
I think that dot deployment for terrain is going to play a factor in this game.
Yep.
Those 3 organ guns could be money or they could be worthless.
Same as those sharpshooters.
Same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
He's looking for a lot of lanes of shooting with these dwarf units. But if he gets them, that's going to hurt.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Varangur list. I'm just not seeing everything here is that is fast is shooting fast. So that dwarf shooting's going to hurt.
I love the horse raider regiments, though.
Yeah, that's great.
So what's interesting is Dwarf list has 6 more drops than the Varangur list, but 1 less unit strength. So he spent a lot of points on characters and war machines.
I played Garrett's list. He wields it really well. He doesn't make very many mistakes with deployment either. He's a very, very good player. And everything is very dangerous in the list.
And there's only what Pat was saying with the unit strength. There's only 6 units in this dwarf army that can score that are going to be advancing.
Yeah, it's a very slow list, excluding he's got the Brock Riders, and that's his speed, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Brock Riders are the most vulnerable to shooting. So to me, that's what would be shot down first, and then I mean they're tough because they have that high nerve. I don't know.
Great Spire, he can take 1 up every other turn.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock Riders, they're very beefy, but once they lose their Thunderous and once they get stuck in, they don't do that much damage.
Yeah,
not compared to Varangur at least. And I really do like the Varangur list with the Cavern Dwellers and all that, and the Bloodsworn Horde as a center and all that nimble around them.
I'm pretty sure I played this list last year. This Varangur list, yeah.
Not this list, but you played Garrett.
Oh, it was really similar to this list because he had a lot of shooting and the Cavern Dwellers. Yeah. He played it really well.
You know, he's very good in how he manages his horse raider regiments. And that Bloodsworn Horde is pretty beefy. I think what Adam talked about I think a really key aspect, and it's something that we didn't have at last year's Masters, which is the dot deployment for terrain. I think that is going to be really interesting in a lot of matchups, and we're seeing that kind of spotlighted here with how much of that unmovable shooting the dwarf list has. Is I think where that line of sight blocking terrain gets deployed is going to be really interesting. But I've seen Garrett pilot this list against all sorts of armies, and he is very good with it. It's just kind of, I think is he going to be able to put those organ guns on good targets? You know, those horse raider regiments, he can just move those however he wants and take pot shots. I mean, it's almost impossible to lock those down. He's so tactile with them. So I think terrain is going to play a huge factor in this game.
And he has Magnilde to shut down the shooting as well if he wants to. And I remember playing him, and he did 13 wounds against the Zombie Legion with 3 units of those horse raiders. So they're much more effective than you think. And then they also work as chaff and in combat. So it's a really good list actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Any parting thoughts before we start doing votes? Nope. All right, cool. Jeremy, you're up. What do you think?
I think terrain's going to play a huge factor, but having been beaten by this list, basically, I got to give Garrett my props. So I'm giving Garrett the victory here.
All right, Ryan, I always do this when you're gluing. What do you think?
I'm rolling with Garrett as well. I played him quite a few times, so I know what he can do with this list, and it's a very good list. So I'm picking Garrett.
All right, Rashad, what do you think?
That dwarf list is really good, but I'm going to give it to Garrett just because, like Jeremy, I played against him, and he's very, very good. He wields it well.
All righty. Pat, you're up.
I gotta give it to Garrett. I don't like how much points is spent on war machines and non-scoring units in the dwarf list.
Oh, good point. Mike, what do you think? Mike, you're on mute.
I am sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna say Garrett. I may have picked Garrett against pretty much any list once I saw those triple horse raiders because I just love that list. But I do think that it matches up well against this dwarf list, so I'm gonna go with Garrett.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, at first I was looking at the dwarf shooting, just being kind of like, but now that I'm looking at the Varangur list and all the speed it has, I'm gonna probably throw with the Varangur.
Okay, Adam.
You guys took my pick. I mean, I'm going to go with the Varangur. I love the nimble, fast cav, so I got to go with the horse raiders.
All righty. Is that a landslide, Pat? I know you're paying attention
Is
to it.
the landslide?
Okay,
Yep.
Nice. Well done. Let's jump over to, what are we on? Table 4. We have George O'Connell hailing from the Mid-Atlantic playing Twilight Kin against Shannon Shoemaker from the Midwest playing Goblins. Matt, I think you've got George's list and you're up first.
I do have George's list, and I like this list a lot for some reason. I can't say why. Got
I think I've got
Dark-sized chariots. We've got 2 regiments. One has fire oil, a horde with Potion of the Caterpillar, a horde with Blessing of the Gods, and a horde with the Heart-Seeking Chant. Following that up, there are 3 Dark Lords on Black Dragons. One has the Blade of Slashing, one has the Pipes of Terror, one has the
Finulian Amulet.
Yeah. And then there's a Dark Avenger mounted on a horse, and Basuzu the Vile. That's it.
Nice.
And I have the pleasure of reading off Mr. Shannon Shoemaker's list. He's playing Goblins. Who saw that coming? Regiment of Rabble, 2 hordes of Rabble. He's got a horde of Spitters. He's got 2 hordes of Fleabag Chariots. He has only 2 War Trombones. 2 Kings on Chariots, one with the Mace of Crushing, the other with the Blade of Slashing. 2 Flaggots, one that's mounted with the Diadem of Dragonkind and the other with the Banner of the Griffin. He has a Whiz that is also mounted with the Circlet of Blood. He has 2 Mincers, 3 Giants, and the Goblin Mega Blaster.
All right, so thoughts. What are y'all thinking?
This is gonna be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
So many monsters.
So
I
I
think
know
this is
that
what George does not want to see.
that there's going to be a vote for who wants to watch what on table. I'm going to vote for this because I want to watch this after I play my game. So
Yeah, that's a good point. We are going to, after the third cast, we're going to do a vote for which 3 tables we end up casting.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
George. So Shannon has got everything George wants to face in terms of like how much shooting George has, right? With the vicious, because the
low defense, you're going to pick up extra wounds with re-rolling the ones.
Yep.
Exactly. And but does George know that there's any other like unit entries in the Twilight Kin list? I mean, there's there's other things.
He's got 4 different things. He's got an Avenger, a Dragon, Basusu, and Chariots. Is there anything else?
That's a great variety. It's
I don't see a problem with George's list. This is exactly what I would run if I ran Twilight.
I really like Shannon's list. It's a lot more balanced than his list last year.
Yeah.
Has a lot of nerve, really just a lot of nerve. I mean, 3 giants is hard to get through. And then 2 miniatures on top of that, you're never going to get your points back as far as what you put into them.
Goblin Giants defense 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The mega blasters just giving away points. It's going to get shot off the board, but I think all the other monsters are definitely going to be worth their value, if not more.
I was going to say, if he shoots the Goblin Blaster, he's going to have to deal with 3 giants and 2 mincers. Like, that's the problem. Like,
He's got plenty of shooting, though. It doesn't take much to pop a 10-12 nerve, and if it is around,
Def 5, 10, 12.
It's defense 5 with big shield. Like, it's defense.
Oh yeah, and it does have big shield.
Yeah.
So it's defense 6.
And he could cover that by just sticking a giant in front of it too.
Or the 2 mincers.
Like I've seen him run that list before. It's not shabby. And he has a lot of shooting too. He's got a horde of spitters, 2 Fleabag chariot hordes, 2 trombones, 2 kings on chariots, and those get to shoot. Like
I think he'll be able to shoot some chariots off himself, but
yeah. Like that's the only problem I have with the Dark Scythe chariots is their nerve is a little bit. You get wavered and it just hurts really bad.
You're only defense 4.
Yeah, you're still only defense 4.
Not everyone can get fearless chariots.
I know. Still like the list, but I'd give the edge to the goblins in this one just because of just how much defense 5 is on the board with those giants. Like, and they're fast. Like speed 7, you can cross the board really quickly.
They're not faster than 3 dragons, though.
That's true, and that's that's the saving grace here. I think
it's really going to come down to how well George plays those dragons.
Yeah,
and Basusu.
Yeah,
if he can play them really well and make sure they get their points and not lose them on a stupid charge or leaving him out to get shot up.
Yeah,
then 3 dragons. I mean, they'll kill just about anything.
Yeah, those dragons are going to be key.
And I think that George's shooting gives Shannon reason to come forward more so than Shannon shooting gives George reason to come forward. And if you have to come forward into 3 dragons, you're gonna have a bad time.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
true. But then the scenario might require both parties to go forward, so you never know.
I mean, but the trick with all those chariots is you can cross the table in a turn. So if it's invade, you can just kill.
They can definitely still play an objective that's towards the middle of the board.
Like every single
scenario is going to be really key in this matchup.
Well, if you have 2 regiments and 3 hordes, you're spreading out, especially if you want to shoot with all of those too. So being able to focus fire is going to be difficult unless Shannon does come right across the board, right down the middle.
Yeah. That would be the biggest mistake. Don't wanna go straight.
All right. So, any other last thoughts before we jump into votes?
As far as total master points scored, Shannon and George are about as evenly matched. Shannon has 149 points and George has 148.
Wow.
So this actually will be a really interesting matchup. They've both been to three masters. They've both been at top tables. They even have similar records with Shannon at 7-3-2 and George at 7-4-1. So this will definitely be a really good matchup to watch.
I think with those Dark Scythe chariots, I mean, that's going to be, that's kind of like the boogeyman in the room for this year's Masters, right? I think we're going to see a lot of those in a lot of lists. And a lot of that comes with when how is dice variance going to work? Because when you're needing 4s to hit in shooting or melee, you can either roll lights out or you can get nothing. So I definitely see this game, and looking at it, it's going to come down to, like what Pat said, how does George pilot the triple dragon, and then is he going to run into any dice variants? If he doesn't run into any bad dice variants in the first few turns, even hitting on 5s with, Shannon's a good player, moving that stuff up through cover, it's just weight of dice. It's just so many shots. But yeah, I think it's going to be close. Whatever happens, I haven't played George yet, but I have played Shannon. He's a good player, so it should be pretty interesting, I think.
All right, so let's kick off with your first vote there, Jeremy.
I'm going a la Rashad in that George didn't pick any like sexy half-clad naked women, so I'm gonna pick Shannon because I'm thinking about that.
Okay, Ryan, what do you think?
Honestly, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go with Shannon.
It is a tough one. Rashad?
I want to go with Shannon because I like the list better. Got more variety, but I think George has got this one.
Okay. Patrick?
I think I'm going to go with George. He's played a similar list to this the past 2 Masters, and he's also played a lot of great players. So but Shannon has 2, but I mean, Triple Dragons is just hard to beat. So I'm going to go with George.
Okay. Mike, what do you think?
I'm going to have to go with George.
All right. The wheel is turning. Matt?
I mean, this isn't even a question for me. I'm with the Chariots all the way.
Of course you are. All right, Adam. Final thoughts.
Shannon has 1 more point. He's going to win it.
Shannon has 1 more point.
It's going to be really crazy when there's like an 11-9 and they're tied going into round 2 on total points. So
Think that was a draw, Mr. Cox.
Sons of bitches. All right. I can't see all this lightning and not think that it's got a heavy edge. I'm going to go with George on this one. All right. Moving on to table 5. Woo! Wee!
Most modest man in America.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. I've got to pull up his list because Rashad hasn't answered me on what his email is yet. So... Fuck.
I'm behind on everything.
No, it's all right, man. Trust me, you don't want to read this anyway. It's going to make you sick.
If Patrick brings it up, I can actually read it. I might know most of those. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you probably already know. So, table 5, we've got Jeff Swan from the South region running Forces of Nature versus Tim Smith from the Southeast playing Herd. And Rashad, go right ahead.
All right, Jeff is running Forces of Nature, 11 drops, 15 unit strength, and he's got, first of all, the Boulder Guard formation, and he's running an Earth Elemental Horde with Healing Brew, an Earth Elemental Horde with Orcsbane Amulet of Thorns, and a Greater Earth Elemental. He also is running a horde of Water Elementals with Wine of Elvenkind, Forest Shamblers with the Diadem of Dragonkind. Is that a regiment, I'm assuming?
That's a horde, if I got to add that in.
That's a horde.
It's a horde, yeah.
Okay. A Piece of Nature with Fly, Breath Attack 10, Vicious, and 7 attacks. Another Piece of Nature with Fly, Breath Attack 10, Vicious, and 7 attacks. And this one has Weakness. A Winged Unicorn, also with Weakness. The Unicorn with no wings, Shroud of the Saint. A Druid, Mounted, with Surge 7, Drain Life 6, and Boots of Levitation. And Karis to finalize it.
Yes, sir.
What does Karis do?
Very different.
Karis has the Solar Staff,
yeah.
which you roll a 4+, and that unit is not charging and not shooting for that turn. It is fucking annoying.
And Disorder, so can't fly.
Yeah, can't fly, can't shoot, can't
beyond
charge.
that, he's pretty much a druid.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got Surge 8 and like Heal 2 or 3 or something. Not that he ever uses
He
those.
might have like Lightning Bolt 3 or something.
Does he have
too,
lightning
as well?
Might be lightning.
Lightning Bolt 2
There you
and
go.
Fireball 7.
Yeah, Fireball. That's the one he ends up using more. Not more than Solar Staff, but more than other stuff.
Yeah. He's usually either surging or solar staffing.
All right, and he is playing our friend Tim Smith from the Southeast. Oh, look at that beautiful maroon wall.
For sure he's in a bathrobe.
That is a bathrobe, but that's my wall.
All right, so Tim's got the herd. He's going to have the Cloven Stalkers formation. So the Horde of Warriors with Brew Haste, 2 regiments of the Tribal Longhorns, 2 troops of Beast Pack, 2 Stampedes. One has the Wine of Elvenkind for Nimble. The other one has the Dwarven Ale for Headstrong. Great Chieftain with the Wings of the Honey Maze. 2 Shamans. Both have heal. One is mounted with the Boots of Levitation to move at the double and cast. The other has the Amulet of the Fireheart. And then in addition to that, he's got some allies. We've got some Elven allies, 3 regiments of Forest Shamblers, and a Mounted King. Vanguard for days.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's 7 units at Vanguard, right?
Yep.
1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a lot. And the other stuff ain't too slow either. So what do you guys think?
I mean, it's a lot of Vanguard, but it's also a lot of nerve on Jeff's end.
And a lot of defense.
He doesn't mind it. He doesn't mind if you run up close to him.
Defense 6 and dash.
Yeah, but again, the can openers, Stampedes, 2 of them.
Yeah, but they're slow.
Got to mitigate them. They're faster than some defense 6 elementals.
That defense, one of the defense 6 elementals does have phalanx, which is not what those Stampedes want to see.
Good call out. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Also, that Karis guy is going to wreck some havoc here.
50-50.
Potentially.
I mean,
couple casts of weakness as well.
Yeah.
So Jeff built his army to be more reactive because his dice normally suck. But then he's relying on the solar staff, which is literally just a dice roll. I always thought that was kind of funny.
It's a coin flip.
Do like the nimble stampede. That's a little different than normal.
Oh, that's the wrong list.
That's a little too far there, buddy.
So
There we go.
So Jeff's is really interesting, as in that the beasts don't have lightning bolt; they have breath weapon, and I think he has a 3rd breath weapon in there as well on the Forest Shamblers. So that's
He's got a lot of breath.
which is really cool. And I think breath is still one of those mechanisms in the game that's kind of, if there's not cover, which you can get easily to face the direction it doesn't have cover, that's a really good tool he has in there. And it's much, actually, I thought I was going to know this list, and it's very different than what I thought it was going to be. Really
And breath is always good against lower defense armies like the herd, so he's probably going to get a little bit more value out of that breath.
And he's got lots of defense 6 with weakness, which is awesome.
Well, neither army's going to care about the terrain because Pathfinder across the board, so.
Why is it? There we go.
That poor Elven King. Dripping on trees all day long.
That's, I guess, the one of X.
So, you guys want to jump into voting, or does somebody have a last-second thought?
Not really.
Apparently, I can't spell levitation. I think it's interesting that both of them have a caster with the Boots of Levitation. That's something you don't normally see.
And both of them have a unit with Elvenkind, too.
Yep.
And they both have a surprising amount of heal.
I'm never surprised with Forces of Nature or a Herd having a lot of heal. That's it.
It's like the
Both
only
of
thing
those
they
are
get,
pretty.
I do think the Forest Shambler allies goes really well with Tim's list, as far as getting out there and getting roadblocks set up so that he can deliver his stampedes. I do like those allies.
The only thing that can kill in Tim's list, though, are those Stampedes.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, it's a lot invested in delivering just those 2 units.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
And Jeff's Beast of Nature and even Winged Unicorn can hop over any Vanguarders to address the Stampedes.
The Unicorn, oh, he does have a Winged Unicorn as well. Okay. Well, the ground unicorn can also.
Yeah. Yeah, the ground unicorn can fight too. He has 3 attacks at TC2.
But
All
at the very least, he's got the speed and the height to worm around and block up a stampede if necessary.
Yeah.
That's where that nimble is going to come into play, though, because the unicorn can't block him up by himself.
It's true. But if he takes off the Thunderous Charge 3, then going around isn't as big of a threat.
I mean, with Boots of Levitation Shaman that can cast Banechant 3, that's still going to hurt.
Yeah, Banechant weakness.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
if you know that you can't lock down that nimble stampede, knock off the thunderous and hit it with weakness, and then it's just not scary.
Yeah, defense.
Spear Wall Horde.
Great chieftain with wings of honey maze. Never seen that one before. Cool though.
Yeah, Vanguard Fly is pretty great.
Yeah.
I really wish he had a. I really loved a great chieftain with wings of honey maze and hunting animals. That way, first turn you can go stick it on the mage that you couldn't normally see or something.
Oh, nice. Alrighty, let's well, fun fact, and then we'll jump into votes. They've actually played at like 3 or 4 Masters.
They
now.
played last year. I was right next to them.
They played last year.
Yeah.
They played at LVO, and I think they played the first year of Masters also. So I think they've played at least 3 consecutive years, something like that. Because old Warhammer, first Masters, second Masters, and now this Masters, so it'd be like 4. If I'm right, I might be off on that. But let's do votes. Jeremy, what do you think?
So I'm going to go with Jeff in that I think that even though he has the Forest Shamblers to deliver the Stampedes, you guys bring up a good point. The Stampedes are his main hitting force, and Jeff just has a lot of tools to take them out of the game, really. So I'm going to go with Jeff.
Okay. Ryan, I know you are kind of busy. Thoughts?
I'm good. I'm going to go with Jeff, too.
Okay.
Kind of along the same lines as Jeremy. The Stampedes are going to decide this game in my mind. And I think Jeff has the tools to turn them off.
All righty. Rashad.
I'm gonna go with Jeff. I really like both lists, and also it's gonna be a good matchup in terms of personalities. This will be a good table to watch. And list on list is gonna be one of those really interesting ones. It could go either way. I think Jeff's got a little bit of an advantage. Just list on list.
Okay. Pat?
Jeff should win this, and I am going to pick Jeff. But I'm sure this will shock a lot of y'all, but Jeff gets really cocky.
No.
Well, Pat, he painted this army in 37 minutes, okay? So you got to let him, every time he talks about this army, he painted it in less and less and less time.
It's like reverse fishing. It just gets smaller.
He should win it, but I can also see Jeff getting too cocky and end up falling on his face. But I'm still picking him.
I think it would take a shitty dice roll. Like he'd snake eye something and be like, fuck, and it'd throw him off.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike.
I'm gonna go with Jeff, and I think that something we didn't talk about is that horde of Forest Shamblers that Jeff has. Tim's gonna push maybe 1 unit forward with his Vanguard before Jeff also has a threat projection out into the middle of the board, so that might take a little bit of the heat off of that first turn Vanguard from Tim. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jeff.
That's a good point. Matt?
I don't want to go with Jeff here because I've seen how he rolls, but his list is really good, and that Boulder Guard formation is going to be just impossible to crack in my mind.
It's like slamming your dick in a door. It's not fun.
Yeah, that is exactly how I would describe it.
Same sensation. Adam, last vote.
Jeff's going to take it with the shooting that he has. I think that pushes it over. Herd doesn't like that.
No, they don't. All right, let's hop into table 6. We have Ashley, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Mawat, playing Ogres from the West Coast, a Merc from the Pacific Northwest.
Nice pick for Ashley.
Playing against Mr. Golden Breeze himself from the Mountain, Adam Ballard.
Fancy.
Fancy
yeah,
schmancy.
so
Oh, look at that handsome motherfucker.
So yeah, Ashley's working for us. She Pacific Northwest. I know her and Brinley have now moved to the East Coast, but so she is playing the Layered Onions and the Bog Bandits Mark II is the name of her army. So she's got a regiment of Red Goblins. And this is the ogre portion of the army. It's the main part of the army. So regiment of Red Goblins, a horde of warriors with Healing Brew, 2 hordes of siege breakers, 1 with haste, 1 with caterpillar, a horde of hunters with blade of slashing, boomers, a horde of boomers with the staying stone, army standard with banner of the griffin, 2 boomer sergeants, 1 with inspiring talisman. She's got a flea bag mounted, 2 mounted flea bags, a red goblin blaster and a giant. And then her allies, she's got a regiment of forest shamblers and a hydra.
Nice.
All right, and I've got Mr. Ballard's Legion of Golden Breeze. He has a horde of archers with Heart-Seeking Chant that every single elf list has. He has 4 troops of Silver Breeze, a horde of Drakon Riders with Sharpness, a horde of Chariots with Caterpillar, 3 Dragon's Breath, an Army Standard Bearer with the Diadem, a Dragon Lord with Dwarven Ale, and the Windborn Legendary Silver Breeze Cav. That's it.
Short and sweet.
Alrighty, gents. Thoughts?
So it may not happen in this game, but Ashley, I guarantee you, is going to catch some people out at this event. I think it's there's the stereotype that it's like you play the dude's girlfriend at the tournament and you're like, oh my God, roll your eyes. You know what I mean? She's very good. She was close to qualifying in that region, and having played her, she's legit. She's legit good. She deserves to be there. And I think if people don't pay attention to what she's doing, she's going to put people in really tough spots. But this, I think, is going to be a nice welcome to Masters game. But I really want to preface, she is a very talented player, and she will catch someone who's going to take her for granted at some point over the spread of games, and she will crush someone during the event. I don't think it's going to happen in this first game.
Yeah, I got to echo Jeremy here. Ashley's a good player. She thinks things out. She doesn't make dumb mistakes, but I think Adam's got this one. It's just a nasty list, dude. Like, well done.
Yeah, I'm just looking down it, and it's nothing but shooting and speed and more shooting and more speed, and it's all elite because it's freaking elves. And the Silver Breeze Cavalry just for fun.
Golden Breeze, not Silver Breeze.
Oh, Golden Breeze.
There you go.
I think it depends on scenario. And I've played you, Adam, and you are a great player. I haven't played Ashley, but if she can be patient and if it's a scenario like dominate, that unit strength is going to be tough to top.
I think that graphic is off too. I count 25 unit strength in her army. So an 11 unit strength advantage. I think you may not have counted the boomer sergeants and the standard bearer.
I counted them. You got the red goblins. They're 2, and then you got 12 from the various large infantry hordes.
There's five large infantry hordes.
I think I forgot to put a large infantry horde in.
Warriors, double siege breakers, boomers, hunters. Yeah, you don't have the hunter horde in there.
I forgot to put
the hunters are missing. There you go. Good test run for the weekend. We can figure that out. We do this live in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, some number of weeks. Any other thoughts on the game? Adam, you've been really quiet and smiling and nodding.
Well, to give you guys a little insight, I've played the Pacific Northwest in the first round of the past 2 Masters, and I've won both of those games.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
that's going to speak for itself.
History repeating itself is what we're calling this, huh? All right.
But really, she's got a lot of unit strength, but this is the type of army that I want to face with my elves. The defense 4, she has some units that are defense 5. Those siege breakers against my army, they're defense 4. The big shield's not gonna come into play when I shoot at them.
You're fast enough to get in their flanks, definitely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I like with the ogre list. Like there's some subtle things here, like the Banner of the Griffin being in there. The Staying Stone is going to make those boomers hard to waver, so they're going to be shooting more, which is great. I do like the Red Goblin Blaster sneaking in there, but
probably not in this matchup.
I love it too.
It's just
The Blaster's going to get dropped pretty quick.
yeah, there's just too much shooting, and it's all hitting on 4s, and it's always going to hit on 4s because this entire freaking list is nipple too. Because screw this.
You're so fucking nice, man. Good lord.
Matt, I thought you liked chariots.
I do like chariots. You only have one. Shut up.
No. He's got the front half of the chariots. He's got all the
Yeah.
Entire army of half chariots.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's do votes. Jeremy, you're up first.
So if it's dominate, I think it may have a sparkle of being interesting. Other than that, just be kind because I'm sharing a room with Ashley and Brinley, and I don't want to like her crying at night, and I have to go get her chocolate or whatever to make her happy. But no, seriously, I think dominate could be interesting, but too much speed. Yeah, like you guys said. So Adam is going to win this, I think.
Ryan, thoughts?
Going with Adam as well.
Rashad. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off.
Shooting.
Okay, a lot of shooting. Sorry.
Yeah.
Translated means you're a jerk.
I never said that.
Just implied it heavily. Rashad votes.
Oh, so it's me. Ashley, because she's West Coast, baby.
There you go. She's East Coast now, but still counts. Pat.
I think unless it's a specific scenario and Ashley slow plays it in that specific scenario, it's going to be Adam. So I'm going to vote Adam.
Slow playing really help in this case where there's a clock?
Slow play it like hide behind a forest
Oh,
until
okay.
Be more patient. Yeah.
Kind of like play for a draw type thing then. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike.
Well, I mean, she could just win by jumping in a dominate zone with
dominate. There are ways she could win with dominate, hands down. But yeah, I got you, Mike.
I can't, in good conscience, vote for a 70 bow shot, 60 breath elf list. So I'm gonna have to go with Ashley on this one.
Hey, give me credit. It's 70 breath.
So 70 breath. Oh, well, that changes things.
I changed my mind.
Yeah, my argument was that there wasn't enough shooting.
Oh, okay.
Matt.
Yeah, I want to have a shred of hope, and I'm definitely going to be rooting for Ashley here, just because screw this style of stuff. Yeah, before they get nerfed to absolute. Well, some of it has, but not a lot of it. Just the chariots. But yeah, this elf list is stupid, and I don't even think hiding behind trees is going to help with all this nimble. So I have to give it to Adam.
Good vote.
Yeah.
Adam, smile slyly if you're going to win this. Okay, there's Adam's vote. All right, let's jump into another. Let's see if Table 7 treats us any better. We've got Jeremy Duvall on Table 7 with his Undead from the West Coast, playing John Van Ace, with his Abyssals from the Northeast. I think, Matt, you're reading first.
Yep, I've got Jeremy's list. Let's see.
Holy shit, he's wearing the exact same thing.
Undead. It's 2 regiments of zombies, a legion of zombies with giant rats and the hammer measured force, a horde of werewolves with the brew of strength, some soul reaver cavalry, a regiment with the brew of sharpness, 2 revenant cavalry troops, a cursed pharaoh with the wings of honey maze. Surprise, surprise. The necromancer. DL is martyr's prayer. So that drain life. Wait, oh, it's a Jarvis list. Woo! So necromancer with inspiring talisman and martyr's prayer. Jarvis with some Basilia allies, like you do, with a horde of Eloi and some Eloi. Jeremy.
All right, and I got John's list. So John's got Forces of the Abyss. He's going to start off with 4 gargoyle troops, which I think will help out in this matchup. A horde of larvae, a horde of lower abyssals with the exchange for crushing strength, and they also have the brew of strength, so crushing 2 on them.
Nice.
Horde of tortured souls. 2 regiments of abyssal horsemen, 1 with the caterpillar, 2 archfiends of the abyss, both with wings, both with lightning bolt. 1 has blade of slashing, the other has blessing of the gods, and then the vial.
Alrighty, let's go with impressions. What do y'all think?
I think the lower abyssal hordes of the brew of strength is really going to come into play in this list, in this matchup.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that Jeremy doesn't like seeing 4 troops of gargoyle chaff when he has his Soul Reaver regiment there that doesn't have nimble.
Told you should have got a nimble.
+1 to hit against gargoyles isn't really going to be very effective. So, yeah, your Pharaoh could maybe take out 1 of them, but 4 of them, that's going to be tough to get your Reavers into anything important.
He's got the RevCav troops to run ahead and try to either force them to charge the RevCav or the RevCar charges them first.
It's true.
And it is worth noting that with Jarvis's extra range on that surge, you can sometimes, I don't think it'll happen to John here, but sometimes you catch people off guard with that 18-inch surge with Revenant Cavalry. But yeah, most of this list.
And Jeremy does have both the Elohi and the Elohi as well.
Yeah.
He does.
There's some good speed.
But those Archfiends with Lightning Bolt 5, they're gonna be tough to pin down and deal with, and then you got Basusu to deal with too.
The thing is, what does the lightning bolt do to anything in Jeremy's list?
Yeah, there's not a good target for that.
Yeah, I mean,
Necromancer.
Yeah,
especially on Martyr's Prayer. Actually, the Martyr's Prayer is going to make a tempting target after you cast 1.
Yeah,
but by the time lightning bolting the Necromancer with Martyr's Prayer is effective because he's got a bunch of wounds on him, all the gargoyles are dead anyways. So then everything's engaged and everything's fighting. I just don't think that the lightning is that scary in this matchup.
Meanwhile, actually, Jarvis does have a 30-inch lightning bolt range, and 1 wound could kill a gargoyle.
Maybe you can see him.
And a high roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. But if Jarvis is in line of sight of a gargoyle to zap it with a lightning bolt, he's going to potentially get zapped himself.
True.
Yeah.
So I'll cut the bullshit real quick. Jeremy, how have you liked having Jarvis? Or have you?
Okay, so this list evolved in a very particular way. As many of you know, I talked about on the podcast, I've been feverishly trying to finish a Basilean list, which I had tested many times and was ready to submit up to the last minute. And then I kind of came to a what do they call, like a come to God, or come to Basilean moment. Yeah, when I realized there was no possible way whatsoever for me to finish that army. So at 8:59 on the date that the lists were due, I was playing a practice game using Kevin's Dwarves against Kevin on Universal Battle because I was going to play Dwarves. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do Jarvis because then I can take Undead, which I know, and then I could at least bring some of my new units that I painted.
Yeah.
So this is much more a list to bring stuff that I like. That Jarvis, I don't think is that great, to really be honest. He has some interesting tools. I mean, his extra range and the very inspiring is nice when you have him centered with some infantry stuff. Could be very nice. I definitely don't want to see 4 troops of gargoyles. Adam is right about that. I mean, I think have some tools to deal with that, hopefully. I'm hoping last year when I played John at Masters, I had one combat phase where I rolled 3 double ones in a row in one combat phase. So I'm hoping maybe, and that was the game that I played, and I was right next to Jeff and Tim, and Jeff and I were just rolling double ones like all game long. I think I had like 8 in that game, and Jeff had 7 or whatever it was. And at Masters, when you're playing that level of a player, John is very good. That's what it comes down to, right? Small mistakes and then dice variance. So I know his list is very good. John's list is very good. He's a very good player with playing those Archfiends and playing flying stuff. So it's going to be close. Can I use my Rev Cav, and do I get lucky on a Jarvis Lightning Bolt to take down a Gargoyle troop early? That is what I'm hoping for. And then I got to figure out how to deal with the Archfiends, because you don't want an Archfiend in the flank at all. Yeah. So this is not the list that I ideally wanted to bring. I think it still could be good, and it gets me to bring a lot of models that I want to bring. But that's the way that it is. It's you got to submit a list, right? And I'm just a slow painter, so.
I feel you there, man.
But I'm excited to play it, though. I think I'm thinking it should be the only Jarvis list there, is my guess. So at least it'll be unique and fun.
Probably.
So.
All right, guys. Last round of thoughts, and then we'll jump into votes. Anybody have anything they haven't said?
Looking at John's list, besides the Archfiends, I feel like a lot of his units don't do enough damage to be able to take out Jeremy's list.
I was going to say, it may just end up being coincidental, but those 4, outside of the 4 gargoyles and the larva horde, everything that hits in this abyssal list doesn't want to be hit back.
Yeah, I mean, the Abyssal Horseman only 14-16. I mean, like, he has a lot of units that will do 6 to 8 wounds.
Right.
So he will definitely need to multi-charge.
And he's got to survive a punch from some of the best heavy-hitting units in the game.
Yeah, and the undead can also, not only are the undead fast, but they can take a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he can legitimately bounce off some of his RevCap troops with some of his units.
Mm-hmm.
They should just have the Cursed Pharaoh and Basusu fight it out in the middle of the board. Forget the rest of the game.
Forget the rest of it. Just call it a challenge. All right, let's do votes. Jeremy, we've started with you traditionally. We'll end with you this time. Ryan, you're up first. Ryan, you're on mute. Let me help you.
Sorry.
There you go.
Am I good now?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. I'm going to go with Jeremy. I don't think, outside of the Archfiends, I don't really see much in that Abyssal list that would scare me if I was piloting Jeremy's list. And I think he has the tools, and he's a good enough player to deal with him. So I'm going to roll with Jeremy.
All right. Rashad, what do you think?
I've been looking at it for a while. I haven't said anything, but you guys have made a lot of good points, especially Pat, saying that John has a lot of bodies and he has a lot of anvils. He doesn't have that many hammers. He has 2 horseman regiments and 2 archfiends. which that's 4 hammers, but the Archfiends aren't real hammers. They need to go in a flank to be a hammer. Jeremy has a lot of chaff. He's got the Pharaoh. He's got the Revcav troops, and Gargoyle hordes. Gargoyle troops. I've seen them fall to Revenant Cav because there's a lot of. It's 50-50. It's a very close game. I'm gonna give it to Jeremy, but I think it's gonna be very scenario dependent.
Okay, Pat, vote.
I'm going to give it to Jeremy. Unless John can definitely take this if he plays his gargoyles really well, but he definitely needs to. Jeremy just I feel like he can absorb a lot of the punches. And when they're both playing an Alpha Strike style, I think the one who can absorb the punches better is going to win.
Okay. Mike?
I'm going to have to go with Jeremy. I just think the list matches it better. Also, he looks like he has a table between him and Jeff this time, so that might help out his dice a little bit.
Matt? Matt, are you watching fucking TV?
No, I've got 3 monitors, man.
I can see it in the background. You're watching like The Price is Right and shit, or you're playing World of Warcraft. Motherfucker.
Both. 3 screens.
3 screens.
I'm going to go with Jeremy here. Mostly on account of it's a Jarvis list, and I'm always happy to see Jarvis. I also think that if, at least in terms of this matchup, I don't think the list itself is that strong, but I think in this specific matchup, it has the tools to get what needs to be done. And I don't think this Abyssal list can crush its way through all this stuff fast enough, if that makes sense.
No, I stopped listening. You should be watching porn. Adam.
Well, I think Jeremy's going to vote for himself, so I got to give 1 vote to John. I like his list, and I think that it's going to be a close game either way, but I'll give it to John.
Well, speaking of masturbating, what's up, Jeremy?
Well, I love that Adam's like a James Bond villain. You know, he has going, yes.
It's not the type of pussy I wanted to see on that screen.
So last year, I had the pleasure in the morning to eat breakfast with the Unplugged guys on both days. So after John bends me over the table and does nasty things to me and crushes me, I hope he'll buy me breakfast the next morning. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. We had such a great game. It was so close last time. And I'm glad I don't have to play next to the ego, the duck. He can take his crappy dice that were so bad. I think Joey Greek went out and bought him fresh dice after their game at Masters and said, "I'm sorry, bro." But it's going to be close. I will be happy if I win because I like winning, but I will be also happy if John wins because he's a cool dude. So either way, we all know who's on the best podcast. So.
Is that right? Necromancer with Drain Life and Inspiring?
The Drain Life is Martyrs. For some reason, Easy Army will let you pick good allies, but it won't give you an option to get Martyrs. But it's the same points cost.
Gotcha.
And I missed that note, so I need to update the graphic.
No worries, man. We'll get it. Like I said, good practice run for the weekend.
But I think what just kind of what Pat was saying, I mean, everything's pretty durable. I mean, the Red Cap's durable. The Soul Reavers are durable. The Alohi and the Urhalohai being self-inspiring, they're both pretty durable. So considering the hammers are all pretty durable, I think I have a chance to survive and hit back. So it just depends on if is that going to be able to happen? I think will determine how the game goes.
All right, let's jump on to table 8. We have Scott Holcomb playing Undead from the West Coast versus Billy Henninger playing Twilight Kin from the Mountain region. And Rashad, you're reading Scott's list. Pat, do you have it pulled up?
Look at Scott. Yes. Handsome Scott. All right, Scott. First of all, Scott's one of our local guys over here in Southern California, and he's one of the most generous people I know. Every time, one of the most solid people out here. And he's running Undead this year. He's got many armies, but This year it's the undead. He used to run Abyssal Dwarves. So 10 drops, 13 unit strength. Let's have a check on that. I'm not sure if that's right, actually. I think it's 11 drops, but we have a Revenant Horde with the Brew of Sharpness, a Wraith Regiment, naked, a Werewolf Horde with the Brew of Strength, Soul Reaver Cavalry with the Brew of Haste, 2 Revenant Cav troops, the Cursed Pharaoh with the Wings of Honey Mace, a Vampire on Undead Pegasus, a Necromancer mounted with Baneshant 2, and a Horde of Barrow Whites.
You are correct. It's 11 drops, 14 unit strength. I think I miscounted the Rev Cav troops.
Cool. All right, and we've got Billy playing Twilight Kin. Who's reading Billy?
I got Billy's.
Okay.
So Twilight Kin, he's got some Blade Dancers, 2 troops, and 2 regiments. One of the regiments has the Blessing of the Gods. The other has the Brew of Strength. Troop of Gargoyles, a regiment of Dark Knights with Pathfinder. 2 hordes of Darkside Chariots, one with the Heart-Seeking Chant. 2 Black Dragons, one with Haste. A Standard Bearer mounted with a Loot of Insatiable Darkness. And then the Night Dancers formation. That'll be those the Blade Dancer troops and regiments, giving them Stealthy and Mind Thirst.
I love that formation.
Yeah, it's a great formation.
You have to go all in on that one, but I feel like it's a good list that makes a good use of it.
It's a solid fucking list. All right, guys, thoughts? Just hash it out.
Well, Matt, this is how you play Twilightkin without all chariots. I'll send you the list.
Aside from shit talking Matt, are there any?
That Twilight list just has so much speed. I mean, the slowest thing in the list is the Blade Dancers at speed 7.
I mean, but look at the undead one. The undead one only has 1 unit that's speed 5. Everything else is 8.
This is going to be just a bloodbath.
Holy
shit!
It's going to be a quick game.
11 drops of just buzzsaws.
Yeah.
And
except for the Revenant Horde, they're just the odd man out here. But
yeah, but it's fighting a whole bunch of defense 5, defense 6, fearless, not fearless. Like, oh man. And the 1 speed 7 unit has flying just because,
Why not?
Yeah.
Wasn't fast enough.
Shamble flying too, though.
Yeah, true. That's a 14-inch charge, though.
Yeah, there's not really a ton of shooting outside of the chariots. And I mean, that's some, but I mean, both lists want to fight, in my mind. They don't want to. And the Night Dancers, you give it stealthy, not ensnare, right?
Yeah.
Yep, stealthy.
Stealthy doesn't mean anything in this game.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, I don't know.
It's, man.
Tough.
Honestly, Mind Thirst doesn't mean much, too, because there's not much inspiring on the undead side.
I mean, the Pharaoh's probably going to go try to take out some Blade Dancers, so it could help.
Honestly, if I was going to see the Pharaoh do something, he's going to punch the chariots with the Heart-Seeking Chant. That's really his target.
Yeah. The Pharaoh goes into even the troops of Blade Dancers, 1 Bane Chant, and that Pharaoh might be wavered.
Or dead.
Yeah. I mean,
With a good
20 attack, hitting on 3s with brutal, vicious.
Got 20 attacks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you Bane Chant them, crushing 1. Defense 5, I wouldn't want to put my Pharaoh there.
No.
But yeah.
Without the main chant, that's an average of 5 wounds.
Then brutal on top of it. I mean,
I forgot they have brutal.
yeah.
He
And they
punches-
all have headstrong, so if you don't kill them, 2/3 of the time they're coming right back.
Yep.
Yeah. No, he punches the Heart-Seeking Chant chariots here. Kind of like there's like, what, you're going to hit 9 times tops. Sure, you've got Vicious, but no crushing whatsoever. Bane Chant that. What do you freaking do?
Mm-hmm.
And that shuts down half the shooting in the list.
Well, those 2 Black Dragon Lords have Lightning Bolt 5.
Yes, sir. Although he's got one kiddo with Brew of Haste, you don't think he's really looking for lightning too much with that.
I don't know.
He's going to move up a little bit and then try and dive like second and third turn.
And again, the lightning bolt has what? Just the necromancer?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
unless you're focus firing everything on one thing.
He
And
could
hoping
focus
you can-
fire on some Revenant
that
Cav
Pegasus.
troops.
I'd target that undead Pegasus because that's a lot of points for only 14, 16 nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you trying to kill points?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
A
one
little
unit.
bit? Have you looked at the attrition scale for Masters? It's not friendly.
It's
No.
500 points in order to get a +1, -1.
Yeah, that's for the +1.
Yeah.
Try to get a +2. Fuck, try and get a +3.
But the vampire on Undead Pegasus, I think hits pretty hard, so it wouldn't be a bad target to take out. And it's one that could be wavered too. So
Yeah.
I think if you're hard up for targets, sure. I think if you need to get some initial wounds out there and soften an army up, I'd maybe go somewhere else. Not saying where.
And just as like as a hobby side note, from someone who loves multi-basing, if you're curious at how to base an army, go look at Scott's army. He's an architect with a 3D printer, which is a dangerous combo for terrain and multi-basing. When you talk about creating a narrative or telling a story with an army, his basing is just out of this world. So definitely when you're at Masters, go check out his army. It's really, really, really nice looking.
And he always talks about being having he has a 3D printer right now, and he's printing out a lot of printed scenery for basically everybody and in and around Southern California. So it's really cool. You get to like get a little bit of he printed a couple of trees from my display base, so it's awesome. It's contributing to everybody in the scene. It's awesome. Go Scott.
All right, let's jump into voting. Jeremy, we'll start with you.
West Coast, so I'm going Scott. And he's a good player. I played this list before. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. Like there will be nothing left at the end of this game, I don't think. So it's just going to be get in the middle, like Braveheart meets you in the middle, and we'll see who's standing. But I'm going to go with Scott.
All right. Ryan.
Honestly, it's a toss-up. And since I know Scott, and he's a good dude, I'm going to roll Scott. But yeah, it's going to be a bloody game.
Fair choice. Rashad.
I didn't say much earlier when you guys were talking tactics, but I think Scott has this.
Okay. Pat.
I'm gonna go with the Twilight Kin. I think I really like that Night Dancer formation. I think it's just so much kill.
Okay. Mike.
I'm gonna have to go with the undead list. And also talking about the targets for the Pharaoh, there's only one Bane chant in that Twilight Kin list, and it's on a standard bear. And without that, there's just defense 5 and 6. Yeah, it's a ton of attacks from the Blade Dancers, but I still wouldn't count on them against the Wraiths or the Soul Reavers without a Bane chant. So I think that the undead list has the edge there.
All right. Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in with the undead here. I definitely echo the thoughts that there's going to be nothing left at the end of this game. Like, nothing.
And Adam.
I've played against this Twilight Kin list with my undead, and it's always a bloodbath, but I think Billy has plenty of experience against undead, so I'm going to go with him.
Okay. Let's jump into the next table. We've got table 9. We have Keith Randall, hailing from the southeast with his elves, versus Anthony Zmuda. I always think I say that wrong, and I usually do. Bringing Trident Realms from the Pacific Northwest. And if I mispronounce your name, I apologize, Anthony. Jeremy, you're up first.
I am doing. I thought So Anthony is goes more by Tony. I
He
think.
goes by Tony. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
man. It was Anthony on the roster.
And I believe, am I the first? I am the first. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Keith.
Yeah.
I get to read Keith's list. Oh, I'm so happy. So Keith is playing smelly, dirty elves. So he has a horde of kindred archers with heart-seeking chant, a horde of Thoranian Sea Guard with wine of Elvenkind, as you do, a regiment of forest shamblers, 2 hordes of Drakon riders, one with caterpillar, one with chant of hate, regiment of war chariots, BSB mounted with diadem of dragonkind, an elven mage, bane chant, fireball, and the black iron crown, a noble war chariot, 2 elven princes, both mounted, and a dragon kindred lord with haste.
All right. And we've got...
Everybody's like, what does the Terranian Sea Guard do? I have no clue.
Fair question.
I have no idea.
Ryan, you've got Tony's list.
Yep.
Oh,
I've got
those guys
Tony's
are
list.
West
I was on mute again, sorry.
No worries.
We have a horde of placoderms with the hammer of measured force, 2 regiments of heart piercers, 2 regiments of depth horrors, 2 hordes of worm riders, one with blade of slashing, one with healing brew, 2 leviathans, banes, a coral giant, a siren, Ector, and Nakushi. That is it. I played Tony just a couple weekends ago with his exact list. Not sure. I'm a fan of part of it, but I don't like the Leviathan's Banes at all. I don't know. They just don't. Whenever I've played against them, they've never done much except for one game, and that's like 10 games. So I think Trident Realms are better off investing in more fighting stuff.
Yeah.
With those points, or more heart piercers instead of the 2 Leviathan's Banes. Take another regiment of heart piercers, do the same damage, and give you more unit strength.
Yeah, lack of indirect fire really hurts those Leviathans.
Exactly.
I think that Keith has enough shooting, and when you're Trident Realms, you don't want to see shooting. So I think that the horde of archers, horde of Sea Guard is going to be enough to really. I mean, I'd be surprised if those heart piercers are able to get in range with their 18-inch range shots by the time Keith has his way of shooting.
You know, with Keith's list, he has enough speed elements, and he's fast enough and can hit hard enough that you can't stay at range. So you got to get close. Mm-hmm. And Trident Realms don't want to see shooting too, so it's this double of he's going to be able to whittle them down and then just charge them. And even with like Ensnare, Drakon Riders with Elite, they're still going to be hitting a fair amount of time. And I just think he has enough shooting and that's, you know, it comes down to it. That's Trident Realms, you know, big thing you don't want to see, right? You don't want to see elite shooting.
Yeah.
So, and I know Tony's a good player. He's one of the better players up in the Pacific Northwest. And I would love for him to beat Keith, you know, so, but I don't see it happening here. I don't think. So I'm.
The only thing that could help him is he can essentially turn off the Archer Horde with a Siren.
Yeah.
He should do it every turn. He can pick a unit and just turn it off.
And Ector, because Ector could mess something out and possibly push him out of force and stuff. Like it may come down to terrain a little bit, but I don't think he's.
And if the Leviathan's Banes go off too, I mean that could take off a horde of the Drakon Riders if they go off.
Yeah, it's possible.
I definitely think it's an uphill struggle for Anthony, though.
Yeah.
I like this list of Anthony's in a tournament 2 years ago. I feel like there's just too much shooting nowadays. I really do like Death Horror regiments because at dash 15 they're pretty stout, but not against shooting. Yeah. And Heart Piercers only 13-15. They're going to be wavered by turn 1, if not dead.
his list could have really used some Tidal Storm to
Give some cover, yeah.
all this, but yeah, without that, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be a very different game if those two Leviathan Banes were two Tidal Swarm regiments.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Because he just doesn't have much to protect those Worm Rider hordes, right? And they're either going to get shot or charged by something, you know.
Dracons.
And the Dracons are just going to go punch them in the face. So it's going to be tough, I think.
Yeah, I don't really
this
see
might be the
anything.
closest to a blackjack we see. Honestly, it just seems a really bad matchup for Anthony.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really see anything that answers the Dracons directly.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some votes. Jeremy, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Keith.
Ryan, thoughts?
It hurts to vote against my teammate, but if I'm being honest, I think Keith has this.
It's all right. Rashad.
Anthony, good luck. I'm going to go with Keith on this one.
Patrick.
I'm going with Keith.
Mike? Yeah, caught you drinking, asshole.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Q too.
Although
Okay.
I have to say, I've met Anthony and I've played Anthony before, and I think I've met his brother as well. And he's a very, very good player. So don't underestimate him, despite the bad matchup thing or whatever. He's a very, very good player.
Nice. Matt?
Yeah, every time I've played Trident Realms, it comes down to speed and shooting, and Keith has all of it, so it's got to be Keith.
Adam.
Blackjack. I think Keith
Really?
takes this one.
By
I think-
1,800 points for attrition?
It's not gonna be blackjack. It'd be like say 18.
It'll be close.
I mean, 1,800 points. That's the Placoderms and either Coral Giant or Nakushi left. I think it could be. This is going to be the closest to a blackjack.
Really? Okay. Wow. I'm not anticipating any blackjacks for the entire Masters weekend. I mean, I know it's going to happen, but just looking at the players, I don't see it happening. So, and I'm not talking about this one game. I'm talking about the entire 6-game, 64-player field. I don't see blackjack happening with
We
Masters.
do
players.
have blackjack sponsored by the Australian Clash of Kings, by the way. That was a cheap sponsorship because it is probably not going to happen very often.
Yeah, I don't see it happening at all. I think these players are better than losing by 1,800 points.
I mean, it happened in previous Masters.
No,
Did it?
blackjack though. It was
Not
Different
with blackjack score.
Well, yeah, but who lost by 1,800 points? And I'm not trying to dog anybody, but I don't.
I got a 20-0 last year.
20-0, but
But that didn't require
that
1,800
attrition
points.
scale was a
attrition.
lot different. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it. My first game last year, I didn't lose a single unit, and I tabled my opponent.
There you go. Okay. So, and you don't have to say names. So thank you for doing that. Don't anybody go Google last fucking Masters. There we go. All right. Moving on. Table so everybody stay away from Adam all weekend. That's the
Hot
that's the
dice.
rule.
Hot dice.
Hot shit. All right. Let's go to table 10.
Oh,
We have Aaron Chapman from the South running his Abyssal Dwarves versus also with Abyssal Dwarves from the Mid-Atlantic, Jake Chica Paprika, which I know that's not how you pronounce it, but that's all I can see when I look at that name.
Well, these are the best photos we've seen. The photo pairing.
Oh, I didn't even
so
look at the
far.
photos. I've been reading.
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
Oh, those are some hot fucking photos.
What the fuck?
No, you could
Yes.
you could actually take these two photos and they're like looking at each other, and you would totally believe that they're on the other side of the room from each other right now.
100%.
They deserve each other.
I can't not see it now. It's love. They both love Abyssal Dwarves too. All right, so we've got Matt reading Aaron's list, and Adam, you're reading Jake's list.
So looking at Aaron's list, hopefully for the last time, please, for the last time. We got 3 hordes of decimators, one of which has the heart-seeking chant. 6 hordes of slave orcs. 2 abyssal half-breed champions, one with the staying stone, one with the dwarven ale, and Basusu. You can't hear the enthusiasm in my voice. It's because there is none.
Keeping it monotone. I like it. So.
All right. Up next, we've got Jake's list.
Yeah, Jake's got some Black Souls, horde of them with the Brew of Strength. He has 1 horde of Slave Orcs, 2 troops of Gargoyles. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 regiments of Abyssal Half-Breeds. 1 has the Dwarven Ale, another has the Potion of the Caterpillar. He has a horde of Abyssal Grotesques with Brew of Haste. He has 3 Dragonfire teams, Slave Driver with the Loot, Baraka Boom, Basusu as well.
Woo!
So are we going to get some slave work action on slave work action here?
That's actually kind of an interesting matchup when I'm looking at it.
I mean, those half-breeds are perfect for killing slave orcs, but they're also perfect for being shot by decimators.
Yep. And
And unfortunately, the other stuff that Jake has in this list, I don't feel is... Well, I mean, maybe if those gargoyles can get into the hordes, but I mean, Aaron keeps those back to back. It's going to be...
Yeah. Aaron plays his list really well. It's a list that could autopilot itself, but he doesn't autopilot it, so it's really hard to go against.
Yeah.
And to me, it's unless dice go against Aaron, like, he will usually eke out at least a minor win. He doesn't win big very often, but he usually at least, I mean, 27 unit strength. That's higher than even the Goblin list we've seen.
Yep. And it's something like over 200 points of nerve.
And I think that, he does get slack sometimes, I think, for, people will say that list drives itself. And like you said, it probably could, but I mean, the way he plays those half-breed champions and Basusu, I mean, that's like the secret sauce of this list, is using those characters, and, getting just those decimator hordes are just so good that, the list gets a hard time sometimes, but he plays it very well. And it's not,
he does.
It's not just to push it forward, that there's a reputation that that's what this list does, but he is a tactician. You got to give him credit for that.
Well, I think it's because this list can push forward that people think that's all he does, but it really isn't.
The other problem is that there are certain tools that you kind of have to have in order to take this list out, and I don't think Jake has them in his. Like, I get that the half-breeds are decent against those slave orcs, but they're just going to, like, one turn of shooting from those decimators is just going to delete them.
Yeah.
From single.
And he doesn't have the flying to kind of, like, put threat on the decimators.
Yeah, and he's not going to even bother countercharging. He's just going to shoot over his own guys and roast some half-breeds.
And like the grotesque will hold out a little bit longer. Woo.
Yeah.
Bracky Braca is cool, but he's not the 2019 version, so I'm less excited.
And I think we got to keep in mind that he almost won Masters last year with this list.
He's on table 1.
And
he was one bad turn away from winning Masters.
And also based on a scenario that many will say that's the scenario Alex needed to have to win. Not to take anything away from Alex, he's a great player, but this list was very close to winning last year. Similar.
To me, it was literally the Steam Tank going through 2 of his characters that lost Aaron the game. If Aaron's characters don't hold their weight, then it's a little bit tougher for him.
Yeah.
But that's how close he was to being U.S. Master last year.
Yeah. Aaron basically has to screw up in order for this list to lose in this situation, I think.
And I'll be honest, I don't see a scenario that actually benefits Jake over Aaron's list.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Unfortunately.
I don't think there's any scenario that Aaron is ever sad to see with 27 unit strength.
It's true.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can see Jake doing is if he can disorder the decimators on the same turn that he kills the slave orcs. Because he can afford to lose two regiments of those half-breeds to decimator shooting, and if he has 2 left, then to charge the decimators, I think he's fine. But that's going to require a lot of... It's going to be tough to do, because I know Aaron... I played Aaron last year on the Friday before, and that list, he knows how to play it, and he doesn't make mistakes with it.
It's 3 hordes, though. That's the trick. You can kill 1 decimator horde even, and you still have to deal with 2 more. Like, it's so good.
Every time you think that you have one of those decimators locked in, like Aaron can actually maneuver those infantry hordes well.
Yeah.
He doesn't get caught up on his own units.
Like, I like Jake. I think he's a great guy, but if we get down to voting, it's probably Aaron for me.
And I think there's something to be said about repetition, right?
Yeah.
He's played this list so many times in so many events, and he's seen so many permutations and so many variations, to where I think that's where like that real skill comes up is just the experience not only of the player, but the experience of that player with a specific list.
There's a lot to be said for riding the horse that got you there.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
this is perfect in that case. All right, let's jump into voting. So, Jeremy, lead us off.
Yeah, so I don't know if like my club will kick me out if I vote for anyone in Dojo, but I gotta go with Aaron. I think this list is so hard to beat, so I'm gonna go with Aaron.
All right, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going with Aaron.
Rashad, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Aaron. Although I have to say, very nice list, Jake.
It's a solid list.
Yep.
Pat?
I'm going with Aaron.
I'm sensing a trend. Mike?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be Aaron, I think.
Matt?
I mean, this is the only list I've had a 0-20 against, and for good reason. So it's Aaron.
Okay. Adam?
Jake's going to make Aaron blink first because that tie-dye and oh my god, that fanny pack, I think he's been doing some moves, the hip thrusting. Oh yeah, he's going to make him blink. And then he's going to cry afterwards. So
he just has to start dancing every time Aaron has to roll nerve. Jake just needs to start like dance fighting him, you know?
Oh,
and
dude, if he does the juju dance that he was doing at BCB, what was that, 2 years ago, last year? Oh man, yeah, that'll throw somebody off. Anybody.
Dice can turn.
All right. Let's jump into the next round. I've got too many things open. The last table that we're going to be covering today, we have Mr. Ryan Munsell from the Pacific Northwest playing Salamanders against Greg Persons from the Northeast playing Undead. And Rashad, you've got Ryan's list, and Mike, you have Greg's list.
All right.
What a beautiful son of a bitch. Nice picture.
It's Patrick. Patrick, you there?
Oh, sorry. I forgot that you have to read it off of.
So Ryan is running Salamander. 14 drops, 18 unit strength. He has 2 regiments of Ancients, 2 troops of Corsairs, a Tyrant Horde, a Horde of Gekata Sky Raiders with the Jaw of the Four Winds, 2 hordes of Ancients on Rhinosaurs, 3 Lichilodons, a Clan Lord mounted with the Blade of Slashing, a Mage Priest with Martyr's Praise 7 and the Inspiring Talisman, Firebrand, and Article, I believe it is pronounced. I do not know what that is.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Yeah. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, and then on Greg's side for the undead, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 troops of ghouls,
Man after my own heart.
3 regiments of wraiths, 2 regiments of Soul Reaver cavalry, one with Pathfinder and one with the Staying Stone, a Revenant King mounted with the Healing Charm, a Cursed Pharaoh with the Wings of the Honey Maze, Lady Alona, and that's everybody.
All right. So what do you guys think?
This one's going to be interesting.
It's a good answer.
I love Greg's photo. That's what I think.
That's true.
In this match, I really like Article. Is that how it's pronounced? That
I always say
Our
Artacle.
tackle.
Our tackle, man.
Our tackle versus
Listen-
Lady Ionia. I think I like that special the rule that he's got. Apparently ignores individual rule and gets piercing too against characters, so might actually be able to put some wounds on her. If he can stay out of getting punched, because
Yeah, she'll just eat him.
yeah.
I mean, he's only got one shot. But, I mean, Lady Alona is defense 6, but she is only 14-16.
Mm-hmm.
And
Every time I play Lady Alona, she usually gets wavered like a punk.
Yep.
So it kind of just depends on dice. I really love Greg's list because it starts off with 6 troops of ghouls. That just makes me happy.
I like
I
it
mean,
because it has 2
that'd
regiments.
probably be
so-
where those shots go to, is those
Yeah.
goals.
Yeah.
It's honestly where those shots should go to. as
Yeah,
well.
the Keeladons are just gonna munch through those ghouls, I think.
Yeah.
I like this list, but Ryan, you have all the tools to eliminate those chaff. Honestly, in the first turn,
Mm-hmm.
maybe second turn if you're top of first.
Well, the Laquilodons can see over everything too, right? So
Yeah.
They're only height 2.
oh, they're
height
2? I thought
two.
they were. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of Comodons. Never mind.
I mean, he doesn't even
Pass.
have to necessarily kill the ghouls. Even if he gets a couple lucky waivers, the Soul Reaver's going to get stuck behind him.
Yeah, and that could actually be worse. It could be worse for you. You want the ghouls to die sometimes, so if you get unlucky with a waiver there, it can really screw up your
Lock a
line.
unit up.
This is assuming that the ghouls are deployed in front of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Could be a
true.
last second chaff.
He's got 5 units of Def 6 with at least 16 to break. They can soak up some shots for the ghouls on the way in.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the rates that actually make this list interesting. That's a lot of defense 6.
3 Wraith regiments. They can lock some stuff down for the Soul Reavers to come in and hit. But Ryan does have 2 Ancients and Rhinosaurs who don't really care about defense 6.
Yeah. And with
Right.
no real surge in the list, he's kind of saying the Wraith regiments are
Excuse you. There is a flying pharaoh.
Well, I mean, okay, but I mean,
And
how
a
often
Revenant
are you
Alona
ever?
also has Surge 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got 15 surge is not
Not terrible.
insignificant.
Yeah, I guess the surge from the Pharaoh and Lady Alona I don't really count because
And a Revenant King.
Revenant
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
So what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
too.
what I'm saying is, you have the Rev King for surge, but are you really surging with the Cursed Pharaoh or Lady Alona to get?
If the opportunity presents itself.
For the
I've seen it done. I mean,
Me, the scariest part of this list are those Wraith regiments.
With 3 flying shambling units, you can't discount any amount of surge.
Yeah, I was going to
He
say,
doesn't have to surge very far with those. He just has to get a couple.
Right. So the big thing here is that he needs those ghouls in order to avoid the ancients on rhinosaurs.
Yeah.
But he has, Ryan has all the tools to mitigate any and all chaff that comes at him. So those ancients are going to do work. I'm not saying that I don't know if they'll do enough, but they're gonna get their points back at the very least, I think.
yeah. And he's got, I mean, it's also worth just noting how much speed is in this Lizardman list, because got the Sky Raiders, got all the Lycodon, speed 6, the Clan Lord.
Yeah, the Clan Lord's gonna be
Yeah.
pretty nice in this matchup too.
I'm curious why you didn't go for just the extra Corsair for the formation.
Yeah,
Points.
I mean,
It's
I
a
didn't
lot
want
of
to add
points and
third
characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
actually
that-
two? Is it actually two ancients regiment?
No, there's only
It's
one
one.
Ancients
Oh,
regiment.
it's just one. Okay.
Yeah.
it's also worth noting those Corsairs are going to be fearless, and that could trip up those rates. They might go in expecting an easy kill, but -12 is you can get surprised.
Yeah, having
Those
Percy,
raids shouldn't kill those. Of course, dice permitting, they shouldn't kill a Corsair troop in a charge.
Yeah, exactly.
and
Corsairs
having
how the Corsairs get fearless? Is that when they're near Firebrand?
As long as they
Yeah,
get
for
there.
Firebrand.
Within 6 inches, yeah.
So he might. That'll be interesting.
And there are just so many shots in this Salamander's list. Almost all of it is short ranged.
It's a lot of piercing.
Yeah, but he has a lot of piercing shots. He can put up some wounds on those defense 6 units to make it so that a hindered ancient on Rhinosaurs can wipe him out in one go. There isn't a lot of healing in this undead list beyond life leech.
Yeah, there's literally just the one healing charm. It's not even base heal.
Which I think I would prefer to see drain life on a Rev King instead of healing charm.
Does the Lady Alona have heal or
100%
no?
agree.
And Lady Lona has heal 3 as well.
Oh, that's fair. Though,
And she has Lightning Bolt 3.
Yep.
yeah,
Might play a factor.
What is Let's see, I can't remember what Love Eternal is.
Enemy heroes
Yeah,
are
it's not
-1
heroes.
to hit and melee.
Yeah.
That
But she
doesn't
wants
matter too
she wants
much.
to be in combat. She doesn't want to be shooting or doing any of the other crappy spells. It's like always the same thing with those casters that have 4 spells. She has 1, 2. She has heal and 3. Heal, surge, and
Lightning Bolt.
lightning bolt.
It's more of a something to cast on
Situational.
turn 1 when you move up.
Yeah.
she's also 280 points. So out of all the casters, I expect her to actually be punching something.
Yeah.
And her spells are just not crazy. Like even
All right.
Pharaoh has Surge 6, so yeah.
Cool. Let's jump into votes real quick. Jeremy, what do you think?
yeah, I mean, I played against Ryan a lot, both in tournaments and on Universal Battle, and he's probably like one of the better Salamander players in the country, I think, because plays a very good. That Clan Lord, my Soul Reavers are very familiar with being held up by him for 3 turns, so you can't discount that guy. Is very good. He plays those Sky Raiders really good. Ancients or beat sticks. Double Soul Reavers is good, but I think that they need the ghouls to work, and Ryan's got the tools to eliminate those ghouls, so I'm going to go with Ryan in this
Okay.
matchup.
Ryan will give you last word. Rashad, what do you think?
I agree with Jeremy. I think Ryan's going to have the upper hand here just because of those ancients on Rhinosaurs are pretty ridiculous, and the Kididons do a lot of work. Interesting. I didn't see him play Corsair troops before. I didn't see that before. And I think Article I didn't see before. So this is quite different from what I'm used to.
Okay.
But it's very good. And it's keeping the good parts of the army while dropping some things for other things. So it's really, really good. It's going to be a very beautiful table, by the way. They're both really good painters.
Yeah, you can see Ryan working on some of it right now.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you think?
I play both of these armies, and I've played very similar lists to both of these lists. And playing that undead list or that style of undead list is exactly what I don't want to see. Lined up across of me, a bunch of more drops than me, a lot of little shoot, or actually same amount of drops, but a lot of little shooting to get rid of my drop advantage fast, and stuff that can get through my defense 6. So I'm going to get to Ryan.
All right. Mike. What do you think?
I don't know. I've played against Pat's iterations of both of these lists a lot. I know that I definitely don't want to see an undead list like that across the table from me, regardless of what I'm playing as. The Salamander list does have a lot of tools, but if you don't take advantage of your opportunity to kill Soul Reaver Cavalry, one unit could just win the game. So 2 regiments, I don't know. I think I have to go with the undead list.
Okay. Matt, what are you thinking?
I'm probably the opposite here in that I see 2 Soul Reaver regiments. I'm just like, goody, that's a lot of points wasted. So I'm probably still throwing with the Salamanders. Though, I mean, 6 troops and goals. Ooh. I'm sick of that list.
There's definitely more that I could say about that, but I'm gonna.
Right.
Let me just say, it's so much fun in deployment to say troop of ghouls.
Troop of ghouls.
Troop of ghouls. We need some lightning lads action here.
All right, Adam, what do you think?
I think the biggest thing that went unsaid is that those of you that don't remember, Ryan has some tyrants in his list, and those are going to do some work here. I think that Ryan's going to take this one down because he can control the chaff battle, and then he can punch through that defense 6.
All right.
It's interesting that Ryan went with Ancients and Rhinosaurs without any items, too. It's like...
You don't really need them.
I think it's perfect.
You don't. It's good. It's situational, though. If you're facing things that are very good, like Ancients and Rhinosaurs that have items, it's like, might make a difference.
There were no points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what items can I take out to fit those in?
Right. And I think that he can make up
Ryan
for it with
is
a
very
couple
lean
of
on
pop
points.
shots.
It adds that extra unit to it, right? That you can take because of the points. It's awesome.
I mean, potentially.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, you get last word. What do you think on this matchup?
I've played undead a lot.
Uh-huh.
I've not played against 6 ghoul troops, but honestly, those just look like free things for me to shoot off the board. So, I mean, being self-confident, I think I'm going to take this one.
Okay. Good point. All right, guys. That was table 11. We are all done. Any parting thoughts, any random call-outs or favorite lists that you guys want to cover real quick? And then we'll close down, pick up in 3 days, and get running again on the next 11.
We had 4 landslide votes.
Did we really?
Wow. Yeah, that's seemed like quite a lot.
That is a lot out of 11. Yeah.
We only made Mark vote twice.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
No, he voted 3 times, but one of them he didn't need to vote.
I just threw it out there just in
I
case.
really liked that dwarf list with 3 of the Berserker Brocklords. I think that looks like a ton of fun to play with.
Yeah, Nathan always makes really interesting lists. He had a really nice Empire of Dust list last year. I think the George and Shannon match probably is one of the more interesting ones. If we're looking back over at all the matches that we saw today.
Table 1.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty interesting. The Jeff Tim game I think is going to be interesting to see kind of who comes out on top of that one. Those probably are the 2 that are the most interesting to me out of the first round.
Anybody else?
I want to see how far that Chariot Twilight Kin list goes for no reason other than that's exactly what I would run as up if I was doing Twilight Kin.
Which one? The George list?
The 3 hordes, 2 regiments of chariots, and the 3 dragons.
Yeah.
Like dragons instead
George's
of pharaohs.
list.
Yeah. No surge, but it's got a lot of better stats.
I have a feeling that might be a common list.
Could be iterations of that.
My favorite by far is Garrett's Varangur with the triple horse raider regiments.
It's quad horse raiders, right?
I think that was
only
actually
triple.
Only 3.
No, it's 3.
Yeah.
Was it 3?
Yeah, it was only
Yeah.
3.
Oh, I thought it said 4 on that. Okay.
It's
On
definitely-
mine it did, but that was a mistake on my end.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like,
Yeah, that's-
It was 4 last year, Mark. That's why you're thinking.
That's why I was thinking that.
That's
Personal
definitely a
experience,
version
still
of
got
it's definitely a
PTSD.
version of Varangur that I want to try out at some point.
It was
that I've-
it was really good, man. If you get to talk to him that weekend, definitely talk to him because he played it out of his freaking mind when we played. So
Yeah, it's cool to see unconventional, meaning
Mhm.
unconventional, like against meta, what you would think to see lists, especially when they're piloted so well.
Yeah.
And he's like and also too, he's just a cool guy. It's like one of those guys who you think stoned all the time and is never stoned. It's just like, that's just kind of like, he's, smooth like molasses. But yeah, it's to watch him pilot that list is really, really
What's
fun to
interesting
watch.
is I really want to see that
Fast
list
cat.
go up against Adam's list.
Totally.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would.
Adam's like, "Fuck you guys."
That would be great.
Oh, he wants it. Okay, so maybe
I
We
mean,
can.
Adam's list does
maybe
very
it
similar,
happens.
but shoots better, but
Oh yeah.
has a little bit less nerve. I think that'd be an interesting matchup.
I think that my fast cav are faster, and shooting at least we put out just the same amount of wounds.
As he strokes his cat.
My cat's not here, so I got
Yeah, I don't know that I dislike anyone enough to want them to go against Adam's list.
I think that's the best compliment I've gotten so far. Thank you.
Means you're on the right track. All right. Any parting thoughts outside of Army stuff? Otherwise, we can close it down. Going once.
Matchup cast after the third one.
Throw that out.
We will be posting a poll to see which 3 games we stream. So make sure you watch all 3 matchup casts and vote in the poll after the third one.
And tune in for February 23rd and 24th Master Stream.
That too.
I'll probably watch while I'm playing.
It's like screen peeking.
I wonder how the top table's doing. Yep. Okay.
Well, when you don't lose any units and you table people, you have time, right?
Yeah.
To watch videos.
You'd be surprised. I mean, usually their turns don't last too long in those situations. So.
Rough life.
All right, guys. I appreciate everybody jumping on, and I appreciate everybody that was kind of listening in to hear the matchups and see what was going to play out. We're going to be back at it again in 3 days, and then 3 days after that, and then February 23rd, Matt and Mike are going to be kicking it off with the live streams, and pay attention to all the other stuff that happens after that. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Later.